Hi, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mateo Chavez Lewis, and welcome back to Music Theater Theory. Whoa! So, a few months ago, I posted a video analyzing Lea Michele's performance of the song Don't Rain on My Parade on the TV show Glee, amid the news that she was going to be taking over the role of Fanny Brice in the musical Funny Girl on Broadway. The role of Fanny Brice notably sings the song Don't Rain on My Parade. So this song that she had sung out of context in Glee, she was now going to be singing in context in the musical on Broadway. And there was also a bunch of controversy about the casting and the way that the previous Fanny Brice, Beanie Feldstein, had kind of been treated, and the way that she had kind of gotten very poor critical reception for her performance as Fanny Brice. So it's been a lot of drama, a big controversy. You know, a lot of people are very angry, and when you make a video about something that people are angry about, they click on it. Which I learned after my last video got like close to 100,000 views. So, you can check out that video first if you want for some context. Mainly what we're going to be looking at today is Lea Michele's performance of Don't Rain on My Parade as Fanny Brice on the Good Morning America broadcast. And the idea that I want to bring into the space is the difference between Lea Michele as Rachel Berry and Lea Michele as Fanny Brice. Rachel Berry is a 21st century teenager who has a bit of an ego problem about how big and powerful her voice is, and so might sing a powerhouse song like Don't Rain on My Parade in a bit of a maybe overindulgent way. And something I pointed out when I analyzed her performance on Glee in that last video was this use of the cry vocal effect. So what that is instead of "Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter," we get "Don't tell me not to live, just sit and put." That little, where before a word she'll start in like a breathy head voice and then kind of crack down into her chest voice. Don't, and it adds a lot of expressiveness and emotion, but also, when overused, might borderline on annoying for some people. So we're going to look at how she chooses to use that vocal effect differently as Fanny Brice than as Rachel Berry, and how she's grown as a person and as a performer, because also notably, Fanny Brice is an older, more mature character, and also grew up in an earlier time period with different values and everything. So it should be a very different performance of the same song by the same performer. So it's really interesting. Thank you for joining me. Let's dive right in. Here we go. Ready? Da-da-da.
Get ready for the roof to be blown off.
Yes,
the roof
everybody,
blown
here
off.
now.
Well,
Lea Michele
I'll
along
be
with
the
the
judge of
fellow
that.
cast members from Funny
And
Girl
people in
singing
the
Don't
comment
Rain
section will
on
be the judge
My
of that too.
Parade.
Comment down below what you
Fanny,
think
you're
of this
making a
performance.
fool of yourself.
I love the guy and I want to be with him. This is what's right for me. But is it right for Nick? I'll make it right for him. Oh, Fanny, take my advice and don't. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade.
Ooh, okay, so already I think it's going really well. We have very little of that cry sound effect. If you want to hear what I'm talking about, go check out the last video, because she's singing so much with this cry sound effect, this "Don't tell me not to live," but in this, she's not. I mean, old habits die hard, and there's a slight, I caught a little tiny bit of a aspirate or like a breath sound before live, like "Don't tell me not to live," a little bit of that, but not a cry. And then listen to how pure and clean her tone is on "Rain on My Parade," like straight tone, vibrato, like nice wide vowel, with a lot of resonance behind it and a lot of breath, really steady sound, no excess tension. So it's a great vocal production, which is great because on Glee, she was her vocals were compressed. Her vocals were maybe even pitch corrected a little bit. They were edited in a studio. They weren't live vocals. Here we're seeing that, okay, the power in her voice actually comes from Lea Michele being amazing and not from you know, just studio editing. So here she is proving that.
Tell me not to fly, I simply got to. If someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. Who told you you're allowed to rain on my parade?
Do you hear that? Parade? Like it's just pure. Total, consistent tone from the very beginning of the note to the very end. There's no parade. You know, there's no, like, wobble in it. Parade. There's none of that. Parade. Pure. Which is great. The other thing is there on if someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. It's a really kind of high and almost like a sigh. That yell that she's using instead of being it's me and not you coming from the throat, because she wouldn't be able to replicate that 8 times a week plus TV performances. And now that she's on Broadway again, doing it 8 times a week, she can't really afford to play fast and loose with her vocal health. So that yell she's using, that kind of really high sigh kind of sound. It's me and not you. And that is not going to tire her voice out nearly as much as yelling from her throat would. So that's a really good, healthy choice for her for that little section. Oh, there we go. So we're 47 seconds in, and we have our first cry sound. Did you catch that? I'll beat my drum, ha, ha. Although, because it's not being overused yet, I don't think, it adds to the power of that note. I'll beat my drum, instead of just, I'll beat my drum. You know, it feels a little bit more heartfelt with a little bit of that cry in it. On that one note, and then she's not using it for the rest. So it's peppered in with restraint, which shows her growth as an artist, I think, and the difference between the characterization of Fanny Brice and Rachel Berry, who does tend to sing a little bit overindulgently, and that makes sense for that character.
And if I'm found out, your turn at
there it is again. Your turn.
I didn't fake it, I guess I didn't make it, but whether I'm the rose of sheer perfection, a freckle on the nose of life's complexion, the cinder or the shiny apple of its eye, I gotta fly once, I gotta try once, only can dive once, right, sir.
Okay, so here we're getting a little bit more of it, and it sounds a little bit more like Rachel Berry here. This like, I gotta fly once, I gotta try once, right? There's a little bit of that cry happening. And the other thing that I caught was, but whether I'm a rose of sheer perfection, which also is a little bit on the Rachel Berry overindulgence side. The vowel that changes so slowly and kind of becomes like mushy soup a bit. We have, but whether I'm a rose, instead of, but whether I'm a rose of sheer perfection, right? Like, instead of being clean, it's moi, which some people might say that is a very effective way of putting emotion and feeling into the line. I don't know that it's necessary, and I wonder how much of it is a leftover habit from her Rachel Berry days and how much of it is actually the best choice for this moment in the story, you know? Anyways, feel free to debate me on that in the comments.
Love is juicy, juicy, and you see, I've got to have my bite, sir.
Ooh, nice. So there she did this thing where she was, ooh, love is juicy, juicy, and you see, I've got to have my bite, sir. Where she went... subito piano is the Italian musical term for it, which basically means suddenly soft. She was, I gotta have my bite, instead of staying loud, brassy, belty, which is great, because in a song like this that kind of starts mezzo forte and crescendos to forte, and you don't really get a lot of dynamic range in a song like this that's powerhouse all the way through, the fact that she's, you know, choosing her moments to back off and give us a little bit of contrast is a really, really clever choice, and it makes the performance way more engaging. So I really like that.
Ready for me, love, cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march, my heart's a drummer.
Did you hear that again? My heart's a drummer! Ah! Instead of, my heart's a drummer, it's, my heart's a drummer!
Now to rain on my parade.
She also has so much control there. Cloud to rain on my parade. She did like, cloud to rain on my parade. All of these little tiny little like grace notes or little mini tiny riffs that are barely noticeable, but just add a little bit of ornamentation, just like a little sprinkle of salt on the vocal performance. And so much control for her to do that live.
I'm gonna live and live now. Get what I want, I know how. One roll for the whole shebang. One throw, that bell will go clang. I on
So
the target and wham. One
wait.
shot, one gunshot, and bam! Hey, Mr. Unseen, here I am.
Vibes. Okay, cool. So awesome. First of all, let's go back a little bit because I caught something that I want to.
One shot, one gunshot, bell will go clang.
Where is it?
I'm gonna live and live now. Get what I want, I know how. One roll for the whole shebang.
There. So that was kind of the first moment that she growled a little bit instead of doing like, it's me and not you. It became shebang. You know, it was a little bit growly. It was a little bit hard on the chords, but she chose her moment. Did you notice that? Like, you can do it once in a song 8 times a week, but you can't do it for a whole song straight 8 times a week or you'll hurt yourself. So she's being very particular about where she digs into her voice and where she chooses to yell in that really high placement that's really good for your voice. And then I want to listen to this climax again. Listen to how pure the tone is, how little it changes. It just, she hits the note and then it just is the same amount of energy the whole way through. Listen to this, ready? Do you see how consistent that is? So, the other thing though is that this, okay. So, Lea Michele is like quite a high singer. She's quite good in her like very, very high belt range. You know, on Glee, she would belt F's and F sharps and G's in every episode and kind of not break a sweat about it. I mean, to be fair, a lot of those were recorded in studios beforehand, but still, she could make the sound come out of her throat hole and it sounded great. So she has a really high belt range. Fanny Brice was written for, I mean, Barbra Streisand, not that Barbra Streisand doesn't have a high belt range, but Barbra Streisand's thing is she's less well known for her range and more well known for the power she has in a high alto, low mezzo range. Like this song, the big dramatic high note is a D, and that's if you go up to the option up, the I'll beat my drum, it's a D. Whereas like Defying Gravity, for example, which is a song that Lea Michele has also sung very famously, we have Defying Gravity up to a high F, which is like 3 notes higher. So it's significantly higher to belt that. And the big epic note in Don't Rain on My Parade at the very end, parade, that's going to be a B, which is this note. So look how far down relative to what Lea Michele is capable of, how much lower than her highest note she's singing. And so part of that might be why she chooses to add these ornamentations like this aspirate or the cry sound, the like, here I am, or whatever I think she did it on here. She did it somewhere. I think maybe choosing to add that sound might give us the illusion of the note being harder for her to hit than it actually is, because it's very exciting for us to watch somebody sing a note that's really difficult for them and then watch them kill it anyways, even though it's hard. And that's part of the thrill of seeing someone belt, is that it's really demanding. But for someone with a voice like Lea Michele, like, I'm sorry, holding an A is not like incredibly difficult for her, I don't think, based on her range and also the amount of like training she has and how strong her breath support muscles are. So I don't think she's actually really trying that hard. And so she might be adding these ornamentations to try to make it seem like she's trying harder, to try to make it seem higher stakes because it's such a high stakes moment for the character. That's a hypothesis that I have. Feel free to debate me on that in the comments down below as well. So there, do you see how easy it is for her to go, beat my drum? Like she doesn't, that is a D, and it's still not as high as she's capable of going. So she's adding the things like my bend down, where she added that big growl, right? She's adding the my drum, where she's gripping with her jaw on the vowel. So instead of going my drum, she's going my, and really biting into that E vowel to make it a little bit more tense, to kind of make it feel harder than it actually is to sing these notes, so that it is more impressive. Like let's replay that for a section. See that growl? Then, did you catch that? My drum, where she bites into it a little bit.
And if I'm found out, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a...
Listen to also how little excess tension we have here. Because we could go like, and if we've been belting high, we could be getting very tense here, and we could carry that tension down. So for example, beat my drum, oh God, I'm tense, and if I'm fanned out, and then we get into this really tense place down here, but she's not doing that at all. She's got a really good control of her breath. She's super relaxed up here. She goes, beat my, she has a little bit of tension just for effect, and then lets it go. Drum, and if I'm fanned out, like totally relaxed down there. And that low pitch comes out really, really consistent and warm and beautiful, as well as the high pitch. So jumping up and down in range, you really have to be totally relaxed, no excess tension at all, and she's doing an amazing job of that. And there she growled again.
At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a hammer.
There she kind of combined I've been talking about how she goes between growling and then yelling really high with a lot of breath like this. And she kind of combined them both there. I don't know if I could do it, but I've simply got to march because I'm a comer. But she like growled on it as well. I don't know if I can really do that. But she kind of, it's funny, she kind of combined the two things I was talking about. So there you go. Great example.
My heart's a drummer, nobody, oh nobody is gonna rain on me.
There again, that's just a B. Gonna rain. It's just a B. Remember how high I said she could sing? So she's singing this much lower, these many notes lower than she's capable of singing. So that's why she adds the hooray and the een, the bite of a little bit of tension to make it sound a little bit more, to make it sound more difficult than it needs to be, and then that like gasp, that cry into it to make it sound more emotional than it otherwise would be. Hooray! Hooray! Jeez. Oh man. And there as well, like she added like did you catch a little fall off the notes? Rain on my parade. Where at the end of the note, she drops the pitch a little bit. She kind of throws it out there. And that also creates the illusion of it being harder than it actually is. Because if we're singing like a really high note, ah, and we run out of air at the end, like, because it's just so hard for us and we're just trying so hard to hit this note, then we are going to fall off a little bit. And it's like not good vocal technique to do that. But by adding it on a note that isn't that high for her, she makes it kind of feel like it's more of a big sing. When in reality, she could sing a B every day, all day, forever, and we've seen her do it a million times, but it makes it feel like it's a really difficult thing for her to do, and so that makes it more exciting for us to watch as an audience. So she's adding these cries, she's adding these growls, she's adding these fall-offs, because honestly, this song is really easy for her to sing. Like, ultimately, she's got the pipes. Like, she's got pipes to go way up, she's got the training, she's got the breath support. Like, a lot of people who you might see on TV, you know, who sound great when they're singing in a studio-controlled setting, you know, with auto-tune and compression and everything. When they get live on stage, on a Broadway stage, their tone is wonky and inconsistent. Their pitch is wonky and inconsistent. They don't have the control of their voice to be able to hit every note and then release that tension right away and drop down to the lower parts of their range. But, like, I'm really sorry, guys. She's doing it. She's killing it. She is doing a great, great job of singing this song, bringing more power to this song than it even would have if she was just singing it normally, adding all of these little vocal choices that are really effective to bring more power to it. So, you know, I think a lot of people like to make fun of Lea Michele because she has a history of being a bit of a diva and or a bit of like a bit mean to people is the rumor. But like, she's clearly working very, very hard and cares about this show a lot and is really doing a great job of nailing this song on Broadway 8 times a week. So there you have it, folks. Lea Michele is doing a great job. That's my 2 cents on it. Let me know if you disagree in the comments below. And let me know, you know, what you think I should react to next. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching once again. My name is Mateo Chavez Lewis, and this has been Music Theater Theory. Whoa! All right, peace out, y'all.